These food prices are impacting my mental health, on God.
And I could agree. Think about these food prices. I think what we're talking about is stigma and individuals having to access or make choices that they don't want to. So you're buying food that you probably don't want to buy, or sacrificing food that you would want to buy, or sacrificing healthier food for junk food. Exploring this situation, I can think of a story that I went through when I had to recognize that canned food and processed food is something that you use to kind of sustain yourself. However, I recognize that this could also be a sign of poverty. In my encounter, opening a can of corned beef, and then my roommate at the time said, "Hey, well, you're gonna eat that? That's dog food." And I think that left me feeling like, do I want to eat this? And I think that left that shameless feeling for me. So I could understand anyone else kind of going through similar circumstances. It's like, how do I make this balance when I feel like if I line up in that food bike line and people see me, it might take away from my character or well-being. But if I'm looking at it from a health perspective, it might be a healthy choice to make. What's your thoughts?
Definitely, I would agree. It's definitely a healthy choice to make, but it can also, once again, relieve some of the stressors that you're feeling economically. I know for the last several years, there's been so many different changes, so many different difficulties in terms of work, employment, and we have to make the choices that are best for us. And I know sometimes it can feel really difficult to, as you said, stand in a food bank line or what have you, but the reality is that we have resources in this country that can help us when we're going through these difficulties. And so I just want to encourage people and name that this is a challenge that I think is impacting a lot of our health and well-being, and there's resources out there that can support you.
Yeah, and I'll also add lastly that food insecurity is a real issue, that for some people it starts from one determinants of health, and these impacts kind of, amount on each other. It might be start at you're impacted by food and decide, you know what, I'm going to feed my family, but then your rent gets impacted, and it might lead to homelessness. So when we're talking about these things, we could understand definitely it being a serious impact to anyone individually and as a family collectively.